The most important thing you can do whenever you're handed a firearm or you pick a firearm up off the table is to check to see that it is unloaded. Before me, I've got about 19 different handguns that we're going to do just that. We'll go over each one of them. We'll talk about the make and manufacture of each gun, and then, of course, we'll show you how to unload them. But before we get started, I can't emphasize enough the importance of having a safe storage box in which to keep your guns at home, keep them away from children and unauthorized access. This is a box made by Palmer Metal Products. It holds 2 different handguns, and you can have access to this box within seconds, as demonstrated here. In this box, I've got 2 different firearms. This is a Taurus PT99 9mm pistol. It is a double-action pistol, and the way you want to go ahead and work with this, of course, and with any gun, is to keep the muzzle pointed in a safe direction, keep your finger out and away from the trigger area while you first pick it up. The next step is to drop the magazine. To do that, I'll show you here. There's a magazine release button located on the left side of the frame. You can push the button down, and the magazine becomes disengaged and actually will fall out. And as it falls out, you'll see that there are rounds in this magazine. So, now again, I don't know if it's loaded or not. I've got to go ahead and, once again, maintain a safe direction, finger out of the trigger. I've got to pull the slide back, and I'm going to pull it back, and I'm going to look inside there, and I'm going to see there are no rounds. Now, for television purposes, I'm going to go ahead and pull back and let you see. This is what you need to see. You need to see an empty chamber, empty barrel. And I'll let the slide back down. I'll point the gun in a safe direction. I'm going to pull the hammer, and now I know I have a safe, unloaded pistol that I can store or use for later purposes. Next gun I have here in the box is a Ruger Security 6 revolver. This is a .357 6-shot revolver, double-action revolver, as you can see because of the placement of the trigger. Once again, keeping the gun pointed in a safe direction, finger out and away from the trigger. I'm going to turn the gun over and show you that on the left side of the frame there is a cylinder release latch. I will push this latch down, depress it straight down. With my other hand, I'm going to reach through and push the cylinder out. And then I have 6 rounds that are inside there, and I'm going to make sure you get a shot of that. Now, to get those rounds out, you can do one of 2 things. You can just turn upside down, and a lot of times they'll just fall out, depending upon how clean the gun is. And if they wouldn't have fallen out, what I would do is I would use my other hand and I would depress the extractor rod, and the rounds would come out with the star extractor, as you can see right there in that shot. So now this gun is basically unloaded, and I'm going to put it back down on the table. Next gun we're going to look at is a Beretta. This is a Jetfire. This is a .25 caliber automatic pistol. It's a single-action automatic. Once again, keeping the muzzle pointed in a safe direction, keeping my finger away from the trigger. I'm going to turn it around. I'm going to show you on the left side of the frame, there is a magazine release button, and it's located down here at the bottom of the frame, on the back of the frame. I will push the button down, and out comes the magazine. Pull the magazine out. It is unloaded. Now, with this style of pistol, it has a very unique feature. It's got a pop-top barrel, and basically there's a lever here, again, on the left side of the frame that I can push out, and you'll see the barrel pop up. You see that? So you push this down, the barrel pops right up. Now you can visually inspect the barrel. You'll see there are no rounds inside that chamber, this being the barrel. This is the chamber, the first part of the barrel right up here. And this gun is now empty and ready to drop, and I will go ahead and put it down. Next gun is a Taurus PT22. This is a double action only pistol, and you can see that this gun is very unique because it is, once again, double action only, and it has a bobbed hammer. This is a kind of a carry gun, a gun you could put in your purse or in your pocket. And first thing I'm going to do, once again, keeping the muzzle pointed in a safe direction, I've got to drop the magazine out. Keep my finger away and out of the trigger guard area there. There's on the left side of the frame, there is a button where you can depress. And this one I have to actually pull the magazine out, and you'll see that there are no rounds in the magazine. This gun, being similar to the Beretta we just looked at, also has a pop-top barrel. And I will depress the button right here, and the barrel will open up. And I can visually look down into the barrel, into the chamber, and see there are no rounds in there. And once again, I know that this gun is unloaded. Now that it is unloaded, let me come back here and look at this Beretta. You can see these guns are very similar to one another. They were basically designed off the same design. Taurus is the PT22 here in my right hand. My left hand is the Beretta. This one fires the .25 caliber. This fires the .22 caliber. Both of these are considered what you'd consider pocket guns. Now let's look at this Taurus gun. You can see it has the bobbed hammer. You could basically stick that in your pocket and no one would know. And that's basically what it's all about. This is a concealed carry gun. Put it in a purse, put it in a pocket, if, of course, you have the proper permutation. So that's what this is all about. This is the PT22. Next gun we're going to look at is a Smith & Wesson 5-shot revolver. This is a model 36. It's a very lightweight gun. It is also a carry gun or a concealment gun. It has only 5-shot. It shoots the 38 special cartridge. Once again, keep my finger out and away from the trigger guard area. I'm going to maintain the gun like this. Looking on the left side of the frame, you'll see there is a cylinder release latch. On the Smith & Wesson guns, you want to push this forward. Then with the other hand, reach through and move the cylinder out. Now I can see that there are no rounds in there. And I always like to turn it just to kind of get a visual inspection, look at each and every one. And now I know that this gun is, in fact, unloaded. I can close it back up and put it back on the table. At this time, I want to tell you that if I were to pick up any of these guns, again, right now, that I just looked at, I'll look at this gun again. The first thing I would do is release the cylinder release latch, push the cylinder open, and check it. In fact, if I was going to hand the gun to somebody, I would prefer to hand them the gun with the cylinder already out. That's a very proper way to do that. And never will I rely on my memory or my thought process to think that the gun is unloaded. Never. I will always open the gun up and always inspect that it is, in fact, unloaded. Here's the next gun. This is another Smith & Wesson revolver. It's a Model 60. This is a 5-shot 38 special revolver. It is also considered a carry gun. It's got a very short barrel. It has a bobbed hammer, and you can see that the hammer is bobbed. It is actually gone. Compared to the Model 36 we just looked at, this is the hammer here, and this one is bobbed. And that is, again, once again, to facilitate carrying the gun. You can actually put this in your pocket. You can see that it's a lightweight gun. You could walk around like that, and really not even no one can tell you have it. And when you need to get it out, it comes out. And because the hammer's bobbed, it will come out of your pants and not snag up on you. Same thing if it was in a purse or even in a holster. If you're pulling out of a holster, you don't want it to snag up on your jacket. So once again, with this gun, keeping my finger in the safe direction, the gun pointing in the safe direction, finger out of the trigger guard area, what I'm going to do is I'm going to depress the cylinder release latch here with my other hand, come through, open up the cylinder, and visually inspect that there are no rounds in there. And I'll put that down, move on to our next pistol. Let's look at some single-action revolvers real quick. This is a Colt 22 Scout. This is what it's called, and this gun has, it is single action only. You can tell by the placement of that trigger there, and I'm going to go ahead and just drop the hammer real quick so we can look at it. And now, the first thing I'll do is I will go ahead and open up the loading gate. And look there, you can see there are rounds inside this gun. So I'll turn it towards the camera here so you can see that there are actual rounds in there. Once again, I'm keeping the gun pointed in a safe direction, keeping my finger out and away from the trigger guard area. And now the first thing I'm going to do, because this gun is loaded, I've got to go ahead and cock the hammer to the half-cock position to be able to extract these rounds and be able to rotate the cylinder. So the half-cock position is basically 2 clicks back. You'll hear these on the microphone. 1, 2. There's my second click, and now I can rotate the cylinder freely. And while I do that, it'll advance to each one of the rounds, and I'm going to use the extractor rod, which is located down here next to the barrel, take my index finger, and I'm going to pull back on the extractor rod to eject each one of the rounds. There comes my first round, and I'll turn the cylinder to the next round, and again, and I'm going to go around all the way through, and each one of these rounds I'm going to visually inspect that it is coming out, and that the chamber is in fact empty. And I'm never really going to assume to count them and to think that I know. I'm just going to keep on going around until I know that I went around and around enough. And always double check. It's a good idea to know that the gun is in fact empty. Now I can just kind of turn them around a lot. And this gun is now empty, as you can see, as I'll turn it around and around. Now, to lower the hammer on this gun, you basically have to pull it back all the way. Now, maintaining a firm grip with your thumb on the hammer, release the hammer, and slowly drop the hammer all the way down. Then you can close the loading gate back up,